video is going to contain clips from things like walking trees and animals going in circles, but it's not just that, folks. We're going to be talking about unidentified objects landing in major airports. We're going to talk about the military coming in and learning how to manipulate what you and I think, as well as a Facebook study from 2012 where they intentionally made people depressed on purpose. So on a day when most of Americans are feeling thankful, I thought I would show you a video of some of the more crazy aspects of what's actually been going on in the world and is currently going on in the world, just to keep you entertained for a little bit of the time while you're cooking today. So let's start with this. There are orcas wearing dead fish on their heads like hats, folks. Now, the cool thing about this story is this also happened 37 years ago. And what it's showing is that animals pass down trends just like humans. Now, moving on, here recently, there was an unidentified object that landed in an airport in Great Britain. Look at this. Forget our climate conspiracists telling us, well, that we need to behave.
So I think personally we're on the brink of needing to declare a climate emergency, which is what we really have. And we need to get people to behave as if this really is a major transitional challenge to the whole planet, to everybody. People in Africa don't have electricity, need to choose the right kinds of electricity. And we need to help them be able to afford it and do it. We are the largest economy in the world, $24 trillion or $23 trillion.
You heard him correct. You and I not only need to help Africa choose a better, cleaner electricity for the environment, but we need to pay for it. I rarely hear anything about these crazy Facebook studies that go on without our actual permissions. Now, in terms and agreements of Facebook, there is a section that says they can do things on Facebook just for research. So not only are they gathering data on you, my friend, they're doing studies on you. And it happened in 2012. In fact, one of the scientists hashtagged that this wasn't likely to cause anybody to unalive themselves. So be careful, folks. When you start to notice a thread popping up on your Facebook that makes you sad, maybe it's time to get off Facebook for a few weeks, because you, my friend, might be in a study. You noticed lately, you might be talking to someone in your house about a subject that you're interested in, or even thinking about it. Like, maybe I want to go on vacation, but I haven't said anything to anyone. Then I go turn my phone or my computer on, and what do I see? A whole bunch of information about inexpensive vacations, how to save for vacation, where to go for vacation, how to pack for vacation. Now, some of us think this may be predictive programming, but it may go much deeper than that, my friend. It may go to the point that you are being manipulated because the military has already admitted that they can and you will use things like the climate and chemicals and biotoxins to control you and possibly even manipulate your healthcare data for large populations so that they get the outcome they're looking for. You don't believe me? Listen to this.
Our attention to those possible neurotechnological devices that may be able to be weaponized. Our group has also argued that the current considerations and extant categories of the Biological Toxins and Weapons Conventions are not detailed enough to be able to appreciate or keep pace with the advances in this form of science that can be weaponized, that poses a risk and threat on the battle space. So, how then can we use these elements as weapons, means of contending against others? Formal definition of a weapon, right out of the Oxford Old English Dictionary. Means of contending against others. And we can do that in a number of ways. We can militate their behaviors and their thoughts in some ways as to make them more amenable to what we do, the idea of positive weaponology. Or we can in fact mitigate and in some cases completely nullify their capability, will, or engagement to fight. If we combine those two definitions into one, what we find is those agents that will either change individuals' thoughts, vulnerabilities, volatility to violence and aggression, or incur morbidity, dysfunction, and or mortality in such a way as to then mitigate the engagement altogether. You still with me? That said, we can break down any form of weaponology into two discrete categories: soft weapons and hard weapons. In the former categorization, soft weapons include but are not limited to such things like economic leveraging to create economics, market values, market presence at international bargaining tables to develop international power and leverage as a soft weapon. Clearly, the more we're able to make an impact in a field, in a dimension, by virtue of research, medicine, technology, infiltration into a variety of areas of the public space, the more we're able to...
Came from West Point, folks, in 2018. If they could talk about that 6 years ago, imagine what they could do now. Now, the clip I have for you was a few minutes longer, but I figured you wouldn't want to watch just that for this video. Now, moving on, I promised you animals circling and trees walking. And well, I do not like to disappoint. So here you go, folks.
22, and it shows dozens of sheep walking around in circles for no apparent reason, allegedly for 2 weeks. But it isn't just sheep that display this kind of behavior. Groups of horses, ants, reindeer, and even orcas have been witnessed walking and swimming around in circles for no apparent reason. So what exactly is causing this? Scientists chalk it up to mass hysteria, also known as mass psychogenic illness. Mass hysteria is a condition affecting a group of individuals characterized by excitement or anxiety, irrational behavior or beliefs, or inexplicable symptoms of illness. One example of this is the dance plague of the Middle Ages, where groups of people, sometimes hundreds, would inexplicably start dancing uncontrollably until they passed out from exhaustion or died. Mass hysteria could be an explanation for pack animals walking around in circles, since they tend to mimic each other's behavior. Scientists also believe that this behavior might be caused by distress, maybe in the presence of a predator or environmental change. Another possible explanation could be general communication, where a group of animals is trying to warn another group of incoming danger.
Trunk, and then it has a root system, and then as the conditions are better, left, right, front, back, whatever, then the roots on one side die off and the roots on this side proliferate, so the axis of the tree slowly moves. So if the stream moves, the tree can actually move to get the best position. So these are called walking trees, and if you had nothing else to do with your life, you could sit here and literally watch this tree walk.
And then I found this real, raw news. Now I want to point out to you folks, this newspaper literally has a disclaimer in it that says, for satire, which means fake, it means adult humor. It's close enough to the truth, but it's so outlandish, it can't be true. It's here to make you laugh. That's what it says on Real Raw News, its page. But I've seen people claim that these are real. Come on, folks. The head of FEMA did not get beaten to a bloody pulp. In fact, I found her the same time that they said this happened. She was actually in front of Congress talking about how they messed up North Carolina. And speaking of North Carolina, I think this is the most disturbing clip out of this entire series I have for you guys. Remember, hit the like button, comment, share this video with somebody. But watch this gentleman talking about how even back at the beginning of October, they were not sending any supplies to people in North Carolina. And in case you're wondering, those people are still in serious trouble, folks. Winter is coming. People are living in tents because even though campers are being brought there, they are not Okay, so you have to get a permit to connect your camper to electricity. Funny, the permit office is not returning people's phone calls. The permit offices are not doing their job. So people have campers with no electricity, which is as bad as sleeping in a tent. I know, I've lived in a camper. And when the power goes out in a camper, folks, there is no insulation. It's like being outside. So we've got a real problem in North Carolina, but I want you to hear this clip. I want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. And I love you. Have an amazing Thanksgiving. Enjoy this last clip.
In North Carolina, you deserve to hear this. I'm a truck driver, all right? I have a 53-foot step deck. I've been trucking for about 2.5 years. I have a YouTube channel. You can verify that on Babyline Hotshot. Usually in a disaster situation, it is payday for truckers. We look for that hurricane. We look for that ice storm. There's generators coming to you. There's stuff coming out of military bases. There is excavators, skid steers, bulldozers, tree trimming equipment, pumps, like water pumps to pump water out of places that have been flooded. There's no loads on the load board coming to you within 125 miles of Asheville. It's called Truck Stop. This is where I find all my loads. Chicago, Illinois, up at the top. Within 250 miles of Chicago is where I'm gonna pick up. The second is the destination. So it goes origin, destination. Watch, see, drop off location. Let's do city, North Carolina. Click it, boom. All right. These are all $1.40 a mile loads, $1.39. That was posted yesterday. I mean, there's nothing. There's nothing. These are loads that you wouldn't even, nobody's taking them. They're just on the load board. They've been on there since yesterday. You can see, right? Let's type in a different city. That's from Chicago. Maybe Tennessee, maybe Nashville is closer, and they'd send resources from Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville, Tennessee, within 250 miles of Nashville, to Asheville, North Carolina, within 125 miles. Let's see, that's it. That's all the loads. That's all the loads that are 28,000 pounds and less. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I mean, what the hell's going on here? I had brokers call me and tell me, Stu, have you seen any loads going to Asheville or like anywhere around the Carolinas, South Carolina, Georgia? Is there any like FEMA loads? There's none.